This is MacBay and welcome to another episode of Figures 101. So I'm currently working on a toy photography scene right now. As you can see, I have Elektra and Daredevil as my main characters in this composition. And I'm actually using the photo for this as my entry for the round 2 of the Photo Combat challenge sponsored by ACBA. And the theme for this round is betrayal. And so as you can see, I'm playing with the idea of Elektra's possibly betraying Daredevil. So I ended up using a shadow cutout of Elektra, and as you can see, the shadow has the weapon, the sai, drawn out, and basically kind of like ready to stab Daredevil. So this one is more of like a suggested intent, the photo, not really a straight on betrayal, but just playing on the idea that Elektra have some kind of like dark intentions that kind of like she keeps inside, and that it can happen anytime. So yeah, and I set up this scene by adding this phrase that says, "What dark thoughts lurks in Elektra's mind?" And so yeah, that kind of set up the scene. And as you can see, the scene is kind of like a dark alley type scene. And you could actually see some of my lights that I use in there to illuminate Elektra and the cutout of the shadow. And actually that's one of the challenge that I faced initially when trying to set up this scene, because as moody, dark scene this thing is, it's really hard to show a shadow and make it prominent in the picture. And so initially I was thinking of maybe using like a normal shadow of Elektra, of having kind of like similar um, pose, but then again that means I have to use Elektra at the same time, and I don't really want to do that because I want to suggest it. The intent is more a suggestion rather than an actual action that she's doing. And so like basically the best way that I find out doing that is just create a separate cutout with that pose, and then just deal with trying to eliminate it enough that it's not too bright, and it's still kind of like preserve the dark moody of the alley. And so yeah, so I just end up using uh, multiple micro LED lights, and I actually have another one directly behind um, the cutout. As you can see, you kind of see like a bright there, kind of like, which adds to like the little bit of translucent effect on the smoke. Which, by the way, I used a polyester type cotton rather than a regular cotton, because the polyester type um, cotton is it looks more realistic in terms of like smoke rather than the cotton. Plus, it kind of holds its structure. Like when you try to thin it out and like work it tends to stay more compared to like the cotton, where it's a little bit harder to work with. And in terms of the dio, this is actually a dio that I basically just put together using pieces from my other dio. So this is not really a specific dio that I've created just for this scene. So yeah, if you have dio pieces that are like separate, I mean, you could always find a way of like combining them and create different scene, or different uses. Like in this case, I end up using or creating an alley type scene just by combining my other dio pieces. Yeah, it actually bends all the way at the back right there. You kind of see I actually added some trash can and dirt in there. You could see on the side right here I have the door, and there's like garbage bag and like newspaper and stuff. So yeah, it's not really highly visible in the scene, but it adds to the realism of this setting, basically, which I what I want to accomplish. Yeah, so like that one, also like the stairs, or this ladder right here, that's actually um, removable. I just added that there. um, I have this kind of like balcony for the fire escape, which is actually a piece that goes along with the dio in the back over there. And so yeah, just playing around, and like I said, you already see some of my lights. I have another one right there at the back that just points down, adds additional, not too bright of a light, but just additional visibility. So like in a shot like this, you could still see the back, so it's not like totally dark. um and yes, I have like another light that's pointed to Daredevil, and then another light that's pointed to this right here. And I have this kind of like in a weird kind of like angle, because when I take my actual photo, I'm gonna try to line up the edge of this at the bottom of my frame. So instead of doing like this, I want to swing it like this. So I just wanted a little bit more, um, it's not really artistic way of doing it, but like just a little bit more dynamic in terms of like the composition, rather than a straight on shot like this. So yeah, you could definitely play around when you're doing your toy photography, um, photos. You're not just um, married to the idea of always shooting it in like a square, like this shot. So and yeah, so I mean, in terms of like posing figures, it's basically normal pose. Very simple. In this case, Daredevil is just kind of like in a walking type position, and then his head is kind of like turned a little bit to the side, because Elektra showed up, and Daredevil kind of sensed that, and that's why there's that speech bubble, that you know kind of like inside his head is like saying Elektra, kind of like that. And Elektra, of course, is just in a normal, again, standing pose. So nothing special. And then just to explain the smoke thing, there's actually a sewer kind of like at the back, like a manhole that releases the smoke, and so that's kind of explains why there's like a smoke happening at the back. But of course, I just kind of exaggerate the smoke just to um, accentuate the shadow, because I want to have like a little bit more lighter backdrop to kind of like outline the shadow. Because if the smoke is not there, even with that, even with those kind of lights, it still won't be accentuated enough. That's going to be a good photo. So that's the reason why that smoke kind of like rises up all the way up there. But again, yeah, this is like another um, toy photography setup that I hope you guys pick up on something, that you can work on yours as well. So yeah, so I hope I'll see you guys in the next episode of my Figures 101 series. Okay, thank you guys. Bye bye.